choice is yours, don't be late. Take a rest as a friend, as an old memory. Yeah, memory. Yeah, memory. Yeah, memory. Yeah.
Sup everybody, what's going on? I hope all of y'all are doing fan-freaking-tastic out there. I know I am because I have a birthday coming up. And this year, for 2020, I'm going to be turning 26. And if I remember correctly, it was 20 years ago when I was 6 that my memory bank started to form. I think when I was 6, that's when my mind started developing a sense of what the heck's going on around my life, you know? But years ago in my past, I was very good friends with the TV. I didn't have many friends in my own personal life, so the TV became one of my best friends. Alright? So, looking back into my memory banks, I try to think of as many good TV shows that I remember from my early childhood. You know what? I think this is what old age is about. Reminiscing about the past. Just missing the good old days, you know what I'm saying?
Back in my day, it was the great internet famine of 1990, none your business.
But yeah, I started digging deep into my memory banks and tried to remember as much classic TV shows from my past as I could think of. I came up with 10, and for today's video, I'm sharing some research I've done about these shows and sharing it with you. Now, I'm not sure how many of my viewers out there will remember any of this stuff, okay? However, if I had to guess, I would think that maybe, possibly, to remember some of these shows, you would have to be born between the years of, I want to say 92 to 1998, I believe. I could be wrong. That's just me guessing. However, you know what? I'm going to be highly shocked if there is somebody born after the year 2001 that would remember any of the stuff in this video. Because the shows that I picked out, I wouldn't exactly call them top tier popular, okay? I think some of these, or a lot of these, are very, very forgettable, maybe. And that's why doing some of this research was kind of hard. But you know what? Before I continue into the main list, let's go ahead and get these honorable mentions out of the way. May the nostalgia hit you all now.
Bananas in pajamas are coming down the stairs.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the big blue house. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the big blue house. Door is open. Come on in.
Now you're here.
So let's begin.
Dragon Tales, it's almost time for Dragon Tales. Come along, take my hand, let's all go to Dragonland.
Hey, it's Franklin, coming to my house. Hey, it's Franklin.
Hey, it's me, Faith, and I'm watching a tennis match. I just love to watch the ball go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. Woo! That was making me a little dizzy.
Out of the box, out of the box, out of the box, out
Underneath the sea, live underneath the water. Sea, live at the bottom of the sea.
The Mr. Men Show!
Once upon a time in the projects.
Low rent, high rise, y'all. Yeah.
Okay, now, before I did all this research, I actually took time to watch at least one episode of all of these things. As a matter of fact, if you subscribe to my reaction channel, you will actually see me reacting to one of these things. So, I should have a link in the description if I haven't forgotten about it or not. So, yeah, the first thing on my list is a show called Kablam!
It's Kablam! Where cartoons and comics collide. Now to take you inside and turn the pages, here are your hosts, Henry and June.
Okay, Kablam was from Nickelodeon. It lasted 4 seasons from October 96 to January 2000. This was like the perfect show of cartoons meet comic books. Okay, it was hosted by 2 cartoon people. For a long time, thinking back, I thought it was 2 brothers. But no, it was a boy and a girl character. The green-haired boy was named Henry, and the blue-haired girl was named June. Alright, and they hosted the show with their crazy antics, and they had many different side shows within the show. There was Prometheus and Bob, I remember Action League Now, just to name a few. But, yeah. So, one other thing I'm going to be doing with this video is I'm going to be taking a look at some of the cast in these shows. And, like, giving you an update about where they are now, or what else they've done. Okay? So, yeah, so Henry was voiced by a guy by the name of Noah Sagan. I hope I didn't butcher that name. But right now, Noah is 36. And he was recently in Star Wars The Last Jedi as some guy by the name of Stamarani Stark? I think I'm pronouncing that name right. But yeah, then there's Julia McIlvaine? I think I'm pronouncing that right. But yeah, Julia, she's 33. She was in Normal, Ohio. She was in the movie Office Killer. And currently, to my understanding, she is voicing John in Pokemon Twilight Wings. So, yeah, there's that. Alright, number 2 is Pappyland from PBS and TLC.
Preston and Scribe's Creative Workshop presents Pappyland, featuring Pappy Druid in his house. Pappy Druid, he drew Pappyland.
Now, Pappyland lasted 4 seasons from May 92 to August 97. It was about some old dude hanging out in his cabin, which looked very similar to the Blue's Clues one, but Pappyland came first. And this Pappy guy, he was always drawing all the time. And if I remember correctly, I used to draw with him when I watched those shows. As a matter of fact, I should have some kind of picture up here of me drawing a picture just recently, shortly after filming this video. But yeah, it starred Michael Carrigilo as Pappy Druid, the main character. He's 71 now, and I haven't gotten much information about any acting. However, I found his Facebook page, and this dude, he genuinely is an awesome artist. I should be putting some pictures up here of some of the stuff that I've seen on his wall. Alright, next up is Ambi and Dexter from Nick Jr. in 1997. Now, Ambi and Dexter was created by Paul Bierlinger. I think that's how you pronounce the name. But he's 84, and it was created by him and his wife, Sandra Schutt. Man, all these weird names to pronounce. Dear Lord. But yeah, I don't have much information about those two. However, the name Ambi and Dexter was a play on the word ambidextery, meaning that you're good with both your left and right hands. You're both left and right-handed. Alright, next up is JJ the Jet Plane.
JJ the Jet Plane. That's me.
Alright, so JJ the Jet Plane lasted 4 seasons from November 1998 until November 2005. I didn't think it lasted that long. It could just be that I didn't watch it that long either, but oh well. But yeah, JJ the Jet Plane was a show about like regular humans in like some kind of CGI world. All the vehicles and all the planes had weird looking faces on them. Looking back, they did kind of look creepy now, but oh well, I still enjoyed it. But anyway, it was on PBS, TLC, and Nick Jr. apparently. JJ was voiced by Debbie Derryberry. And for those of you that don't know who Debbie Derryberry is, you will. Some of you may even get like a aha moment, you know? So, Debbie Derryberry did the voice of Toy Story. No, did the voice of the aliens in Toy Story. And she also did the voice of Jimmy Neutron. Alright, number 5. Roly Poly Oly from Playhouse Disney.
He's roly-poly-oly. He's small and smart and round. And in the land of curves and curls, he's the swellest kid around.
So, Roly Poly Oly lasted 6 seasons from October 1998 until April 2004. It was a show about some kind of robotic world of just a whole bunch of robots, and almost literally everything had a face on it. Heck, even the tables and the chairs, dear Lord. But yeah, this series also had 2 movies, but I'll get to those in a moment. But yeah, I couldn't find out much about the guy who did the voice of Oli, who was Cole Kaplan. He did the voice of Franklin, I believe, but I know he was also in JoJo's Circus. He also starred in The Kid with Bruce Willis. Alright, but now there's Zowie Oli. She was in Franklin as well. And she was also in Maggie and the Ferocious Beast. Now, I didn't do much research on that, but I definitely believe she was Maggie. She had to be. Now, I think it was a mother, I could be wrong, that was played by Kathleen Disher. She's 59, and she played Jean Grey in the 90s X-Men series. Alright, now about those movies. There was a main villain in there by the name of Gloomius Maximus. Alright, there was 2 voices that did him. Alright, the first movie was in The Great Defender of Fun, and the person that did the voice of that was James Woods. And if you don't know who James Woods is, Google him. There was like a whole bunch of stuff that you could remember him from. What I remember him from was definitely Family Guy. He was in GTA San Andreas. I remember him from that. And there was also a movie called Vampires. But yeah, James Woods, he did a lot of stuff. But then there was another Roly Poly Oly movie in 2003. Crap, I forgot to get the name of it. But anyway, it was played by a guy by the name of Paul Haddad, who was the voice of Leon in Resident Evil 2. However, unfortunately, he died this past April 11th. So, Rest in peace, Paul. Alright, next up is Zoobilee Zoo from 1986 to 1988.
Come along with us to Zoobilee Zoo, Zoobilee Zoo. Magic and wonder are waiting for you. It's as close as a dream and as bright as the brightest blue. Welcome to Zoobilee Zoo.
Looking back, I don't think I ever really watched this on TV. I think I just happened to have like a few tapes laying around with my grandmother. Which, by the way, this used to be her house too, the one I'm filming in. So, yeah, Zoobilee Zoo was about a whole bunch of people dressed up in awesome animal cosplay. Looking back, those costumes were awesome. Especially that Takatu. But, in this day and age, some of them may be referred to as furries. Highly advanced furries, though. So, there was Mayor Ben, who was played by Ben Vereen, who's 73 now. He was in The Last Witch Hunter with Vin Diesel. And he was in 2016's Rocker Horror Picture Show as Dr. Scott Everett. Now, there was also Louis Valance as Was That Kangaroo. I think Was That kind of looked like that pink girl from My Hero Academia. But anyway, she did the voice of Sonic in Sonic Underground, so that was pretty cool. But then there's Van Gogh Lion, played by Forrest Garner, who unfortunately he died back in 2014. Alright, number 7 is a show called Zoom from PBS.
Woohoo! Come on, buddy. Yeah, Ryan, time to go. Come on and zoom. Come on and zoom. Come on and zoom. Come on and zoom. Come on and zoom, 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 zoom.
Now, I don't have much information about this particular series, especially on the cast, but the Zoom I was remembering was from the 90s. However, it lasted 6 seasons in the 70s, from 1972 to 1978. However, the revival lasted 1 season extra, lasting from January 1999 till May 2005. Like, the best way that I can describe Zoom was a whole bunch of kids just doing a whole bunch of games and active stuff. Alright, next up is PB and J Otter from the Disney Channel. It lasted from March 1998 until October 2000. So yeah, it was about a show of otters who lived on a boat for a house. They had a friend of a beaver, they had a friend of a duck, and a friend of a family of raccoons. Alright. But yeah, the red otter was Peanut, his tall purple sister was Jelly, and his baby brother was named Butter. Now, Peanut, he was voiced by Adam Rose, who's 54. No, not that Adam Rose. Sorry, yes, I'm a lemon for now. But, yeah, Adam, he hasn't done much acting since then. He's been in, like, some small parts as, in My Name is Earl, as Ronnie. He played Byron in a show called iZombie. And he was Aaron Bass in a show called Supernatural. Okay, then. Alright, next up is Oswald from Nick Jr. So, Oswald was a show about a big blue octopus who was friends with a big snowman, some flower lady, Butterfree, and he actually had a hot dog as a pet. I loved it. I loved it. But yeah, it lasted from August 2001 to September 2003. Oswald was voiced by a guy by the name of Fred Savage. He's 43 now. And currently he's hosting What Just Happened. But also he was in a movie called Little Monsters, which just by poster alone, I think I gotta check that out later. However, he was also number 3 in Austin Powers Goldmember. And as some of you don't remember who number 3 was, well then...
Listen, just get it out of your system.
No, I'm fine.
I insist. We
Yeah,
could
it's
work
okay,
together
it's all
better
good,
if you
don't
just
worry.
got...
Mole! Bloody mole! We're not supposed to talk about the bloody mole, but there's a bloody mole winking me in the face. I'm gonna chop it off and cut it up and make some guacamole.
Better?
I'm never going to forget that. I can't forget that now. Alright, so the last one on the list was the hardest one of them all, but one that I have literally no information for as far as the cast goes. But yeah, I was racking my brain so hard to think about what this show was even called. But heck, the existence of it was even questioned. The way I tried to explain the show was, it was sort of like Barney in a way, but instead of a dinosaur, it was an alien. So when I finally figured out the name of it, it was the Dooley and Pal Show.
Dooley, Dooley, Dooley and pals. Yay, Dooley!
The Dooley and Pal Show lasts from April 2000 to June 2003 from some kind of channel called Zone Thriller. I don't even remember that being a channel, so I don't see how the heck I remember it. But it was a show that was sort of like Barney in a way, but like I said, instead of a dinosaur, it was an alien named Dooley. And he had a robot as a friend named Marty. Now, to my understanding, I didn't think of it back then, but this show was kind of religion-based. They actually had some kids on there actually reading scripture, so yeah. But like I said, I really don't have much information about the Dooley and Pal Show. But yeah, that's been 10 shows from my deep, deep past. Now, I actually wrote down a heck of a lot more than what you saw in the honorable mentions and the this particular video. So I may end up making a part 2 sometime in the future. But I'll leave it up to you. So let me know in the comments below if any of you remember some of these shows. And until next time, make sure all of you remember to be outrageously optimistic year-round. Booyah, I'm out.
Come as you are, as you were.